Land is a precious resource in Ghana. It is essential for agriculture, housing, and economic development. Ghana has implemented various land use policies to manage this vital resource. These policies aim to balance competing demands and ensure sustainable development. However, Ghana's land use policies have often been a source of conflict and controversy. This is due to several factors including historical injustices, weak enforcement mechanisms, and a lack of transparency. Land acquisition for public projects is a significant point of contention. The government has the power to acquire land for public use. This power is enshrined in the 1992 Constitution. However, the process of acquisition has often been marred by irregularities. This includes inadequate compensation and a lack of proper resettlement plans for displaced communities. The situation is further complicated by overlapping land ownership claims and the existence of both customary and statutory land tenure systems. Furthermore, rapid urbanization and industrialization are putting increasing pressure on land resources. This has led to the encroachment of agricultural lands, deforestation, and the degradation of fragile ecosystems. Coastal areas in particular are facing severe threats from erosion, pollution, and the impacts of climate change. These challenges highlight the urgent need for comprehensive and effectively implemented land use policies in Ghana. The Barraquis Dam project, initiated in 1965, serves as a stark example of the conflicts arising from land acquisition practices in Ghana. The project aimed to provide water to the Ashanti region. However, it led to the displacement of numerous communities. These communities were promised compensation and resettlement. However, these promises were often not kept. This has resulted in protracted disputes and hardship for the affected populations. The Barraquis Dam project is not an isolated case. Similar conflicts have arisen in other parts of the country. These conflicts often stem from a lack of transparency and consultation in the land acquisition process. Communities often feel that their concerns are not adequately considered. They are not given a fair hearing. This breeds resentment and distrust towards the government and project developers. The situation is further exacerbated by the activities of illegal miners, popularly known as Galamsey. Their unregulated operations have resulted in widespread land degradation, deforestation, and water pollution. This has further intensified competition for land resources and heightened the potential for conflict, particularly in rural communities. One of the most significant challenges in Ghana's land use policies is the gap between policy formulation and implementation. While Ghana has a relatively robust legal and policy framework for land management, enforcement remains weak. This is due to a lack of resources, corruption, and political interference. The Land Use and Spatial Planning Act of 2016, Act 925, was enacted to address these challenges. The act sought to streamline land administration, promote sustainable development, and minimize land-related disputes. However, its implementation has been slow and met with resistance. This highlights the deeply entrenched nature of land-related challenges in Ghana. The lack of effective enforcement mechanisms has undermined the effectiveness of land use policies. This has fueled land grabbing, illegal mining, and other unsustainable land use practices. Addressing the challenges in Ghana's land use policies requires a multifaceted approach. This includes strengthening policy enforcement, promoting transparency and accountability, and ensuring meaningful community participation in decision-making processes. Firstly, the government must prioritize the full implementation of Act 925. This includes providing adequate resources to land sector agencies. It also requires empowering traditional authorities to play a more active role in land administration. Decentralizing land administration and involving local communities in decision-making processes can enhance transparency and accountability. Moreover, there is a pressing need for a dedicated wetland policy in Ghana. This policy should prioritize the conservation and sustainable management of these vital ecosystems. These ecosystems provide essential services such as water purification, flood regulation, and carbon sequestration. By adopting a more holistic and participatory approach to land use management, Ghana can pave the way for a more sustainable and equitable future for all its citizens.